You're listening to The New Paris. I'm your host, Lindsay Tremuta. Whether or not you have children, chances are you've heard that France's childcare system is among the best in Europe, both in terms of public and private options. There's the crèche, subsidized daycare, shared nannies, au pairs, and full-time nannies who make, or should anyway, a living commensurate with their experience and hours worked. Since more and more foreigners are moving to Paris with children or with the intention to have children, it's important to understand the landscape. I happen to know someone who works in this world, and I thought it was time to get her story, her views on child rearing in Paris specifically, the options that exist, the dark side of the business, and how it all compares with the UK and Germany, where she has both lived and worked. Meet Lise Scott. Liz.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I have wanted to talk to you about your work for a long time because I'm fascinated, A, by the world of childcare in Europe and how that compares to what I know in the US from friends. But also, we tend to, all the sort of writing and reporting I've done on the French approach to maternity and motherhood and all of that comes from mothers themselves.
True.
And not from the position of a caregiver. And you are in this unique position.
I am.
To be someone who comes from England.
Yeah.
Who has lived in several places doing this work.
True.
And you have a reference point that is broader than many. So
True.
That's part one. Also, I think you're wonderful and smart and very funny, and we met at a wedding.
Thank you so much.
And you're wearing a cat dress, which no one can see, which I'm very touched by. So I guess the motivation for doing this now is that we're in a period where people are moving to France. I mean, they're always moving to France.
Yeah, everyone's always moving.
It's true. And within Europe, that's very easy.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of Americans who
That's
are actively trying to get over here.
Yeah.
Whether it's because in general the quality of life is better, because it's more affordable in terms of childcare,
True.
and because of the current turmoil.
Yes, my client at the moment is actually American, so good point.
Right. And she's here for professional reasons.
Exactly.
But I imagine that she's fully aware
of the childcare benefits,
right.
And that was clearly mentioned during my interview and throughout the course of our working together. So yeah.
Okay, so that's a clear factor.
Yeah.
And I also think that American families romanticize or glorify a little bit how much better it is over here.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of nuance that would be helpful to
Indeed.
to illuminate, because it's not perfect and the costs vary wildly.
True.
So before we get into all of that, though, did you start off as a nanny? Because you work as a professional.
Yeah.
What I would call a premium nanny. I don't know if that's even an appropriate term.
The correct term is high profile.
Really?
Yeah. It's a high profile or ultra high net worth nanny.
So because you work, you're sort of full-time with the same family.
It depends, actually. So I have one full-time family, and then I lease myself out to several other people. Like if I have a week or 2 weeks off, if I work weekends, nights.
So you can do other things.
Yeah, I work for multiple people simultaneously. But yes, I have one current full-time job.
Okay. And that has always existed, right? This type of...
Since the dawn of time. Depends on what labels we've put on it, but I think the earliest job people might be more familiar with is the wet nurse.
Ah, yes.
Which, traditionally lots of black women did, lots of slaves did, because, it's not very... I mean... If you just have to think about romanticizing breastfeeding, I mean,
right.
No.
But that's illegal now, right?
It is illegal, yeah.
Right?
But you have actually still a huge market in the US of people that still do that like black market style, like women that just produce lots of milk and have there's a name for it, women that have like an attachment to like the want to nurture a child through, the action of breastfeeding.
Even if they're not just out of giving birth themselves, they're just naturally producing milk.
They keep feeding other people's babies so that they continue to produce the milk.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and then sometimes they also pump and sell the milk, which
Jesus.
I could actually be very helpful for neonatal, premature babies, that kind of thing. It's helpful, but
it's still a black market.
Yeah, it's definitely black market.
So the various forms of childcare have existed. Did you start off your career this way?
I did not.
So tell me about how you got into this.
It's quite a story, actually, and it's one that I've been meaning to tell. Wow, how long have I been nannying for now? 20 years?
Wow.
So I've been meaning to tell it for certainly the last 5 years, but I haven't found the correct outlet. Podcast, movie, TV series.
Well,
but,
who knows who's listening? So
there you go. So basically, I studied business and finance originally. I worked in a very affluent area of London, which is where I'm from. I was on my lunch break in a park in Chelsea. There was a woman on the telephone and she was with her child. And she was like, "Oh, darling, stop trying to get my attention. I really need to take this phone call. Mummy will be with you in a second." And the child was just like, "Mummy, mummy, mummy, please." And it sounds creepy now, but back then it wasn't creepy to be like, "Hello, little girl, what are you doing?"
Do you need me to entertain you for a minute?
I felt really sorry for her. Like
Right.
she was making a daisy chain. She wanted to play with her mum in the park. The mum was too busy. She took the call. Fine, no judgment. All things need to be done. And so I just went over. She was really opposite me. And I went over and I was like, "Hello, my name's Lizzie. I'll do it with you. Mummy's busy." And when the mum came off the phone, she was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I really needed to take that call. It was so important. Are you a nanny, by the way? Listen, we don't have much time, but we really need someone for Saturday. Take my card and call me." And I was just like, before I could even explain that, no, I wasn't a nanny and that I was just on my lunch break, I was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to take stock and think about this for a moment, because I am at a point in my career where I'm bored of sitting in the office.
Mm-hmm.
I never really wanted to do the whole corporate thing. I was working for Red Bull Racing in the finance department.
Oh, that's right.
So lots of money, fast pace. I'd been used to seeing celebrities and drivers come in and out of like HQ and offices anyway. And I turned up to the house on Saturday. I was like, I'm just going to go. Like, I've always wanted to go into someone's house in Chelsea, in London, and have a like nosy around. Like, I've always been into interiors and things like that. So I turn up and then a famous actor opens the door.
Oh boy.
So I won't say their name, because generally I never say people's names that I work for, because of they are always generally people in the public eye. But this famous actor opens the door, and it was a he said, "Hello, Lizzie." And I was just like, "Oh, it's you." And he was like, "Yes, and you're called Lizzie."
Oh my gosh.
"I have a friend called Lizzie." And then it just started from there. I was like, "Yes, I'm going to work for this person. I can do it. I think I can."
But it started as like a one-off.
It started as a one-off. I was very honest with the clients, and I was just like, "This is what I do normally, but I have X amount of brothers and sisters. I really like kids, blah, blah, blah." And they were like, "Well, you're good-natured with her. Let's just give it a go. It's not full-time. It's just part-time. Tell us if you want to do it or not." And I completely aced it. And then one high-profile review to another, work for my friend, work for their friends. And then eventually I went on to study childcare things. So, yeah.
So you do have to get, at some point, sort of a certification.
I think if you want to justify why you want a sustainable amount of money,
Right.
like not just, the dredges, like
Right.
some pocket change, the thing with my job is that lots of people don't understand the differences between, babysitter, nanny, governess, teacher, tutor.
Do we still use the word governess?
We do, yeah. Certainly the agencies do.
Wow.
There are so many.
Well, what is a governess?
Governess is generally
today?
Someone that's older.
Okay.
And it is more still the caretaking part of the role, but a nanny is more... It's more listed as like a daily nanny. You have a daily nanny and a night nanny, and you're responsible for like the child's milestones and things like that, educational development, and as well as having the pedagogical experience. Governess is more of like a childminder, but then you also have one of those. So it just depends.
Right.
It just depends. But I think when you work with agencies and high profile clients, the definitions of the job titles are certainly more clear, and sometimes they spill into the other and mean the same thing, but you will always see the same 5-6 type of titles in agencies. And then if you go to nursery schools or private homes, then it's listed differently as well. Yeah.
Well, how long were you doing that work once you left your job?
Yep.
In London before you moved here?
Yes.
Because, your trajectory...
Let me see. Yeah, wow. Let me see then. God. Maybe 5 or 6 years.
Quand même. Yeah, okay.
5 or 6 years. And then I thought, do you know what? And then I wasn't really familiar with the term travel nanny. I knew people did it. I knew that the type of people I worked for travelled often on private jets to film premieres, to modelling shoots, depends on what their job is. But I was like, I can't do that. It's not really for me. There's enough business in London. And then I was just like, actually, do you know what? Why not? I do want to travel more. And I'll just go, not far. Let's try France for baby steps.
But you came here without having the family to bring you over, right?
Exactly. I didn't. I came as an independent person.
Pre-Brexit?
Pre-Brexit, yes.
Right, so you could be here.
Wasn't yet joined to an agency, so I was again just asking, looking around myself. And I found some clients just through contacts. They weren't so super high profile in the beginning, because I think before you move to a country, it's also important for a nanny or a manny, I might add, to research the market. What does celebrity mean in that country that you want to go to? Does it exist? Do they have a reputation for hiring different types of staff for the household? And, in the UK, celebrity culture is like up there, you know?
Which is very different from here. But
yeah.
But also I know that you've not always worked for people in that at that level at all. And
True.
You were here, and then eventually you moved to Berlin.
Yes.
Where you stayed 8 years?
7.
7 years. And why did you end up leaving Paris?
I ended up leaving Paris. So from London, moved to Paris, lived here and worked here for 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
And then moved to Berlin because I was dating someone who was German.
Okay.
They always get you that way. So I went to Berlin on a holiday, met someone, and I was like, do you know what? There are agencies here too. I can work anywhere.
Obviously, in terms of, affluence or purchasing power, very different going from London to Paris to Berlin in terms of what people are conditioned maybe to think is appropriate to spend for their children, right? So how do they all compare?
Yeah, this moving to Berlin from Paris was actually my biggest motivation to earn more money and climb the career ladder. Sounds a bit weird, moving to like a global fashion city to another one that's more known for like artistic underground living, clubbing culture. I mean, Berlin has changed enormously in the last decade, 15 years. And I read up on this and was obviously talking to my boyfriend about this. And in France, you have something that everyone's familiar with called an au pair.
Right.
And it means basically to be on equal terms, au pair. And a lot of people don't actually realize that to work legally in France as an au pair, you need to be under the age of 27. You can only work part-time, maximum of 20 hours per week. The family that you work for need to provide you with lodgings, whether it's with them or in a chambre de bonne. And you're only allowed to have pocket money, so you can't earn a salary.
Interesting.
So this is heavily ingrained in many upper-class French families.
So they assume that if you are a nanny,
yes,
that's what you'd be doing.
You must be an au pair or a babysitter. And it's not, I mean, obviously, we're just generalizing. Not all French people think that, but a lot of people assume that. So then when you ask for the pay grades that a high-profile nanny wants to earn without an agency, people automatically think negatively of that. And they're like, well, what are you bringing to the table? This is how much I want to pay, or this is how much I deem feasible. You just have to advocate for yourself. And in Berlin, it's not like that at all, especially with the boom in like tech companies that moved over there. Lots of new money, young professionals, people that really understand like the new Berlin and wanting to step out of the past. And
are you suggesting also that the only sort of, well, I guess that nannies who are not at your, working with families of the same net worth, are they automatically being undervalued?
Yes, absolutely. Especially in France, actually, which was one of the key reasons I thought, let's just leave, because even having like the background that I did, the references that I had, people were still always questioning like my salary. Why do you need that much? But it's not this much. I can find 10 other girls this much. And actually you have quite a lot of undocumented people.
Well, of course.
In France. Anywhere you have undocumented people. And this is where exploitation comes into it. You know, it's like, why should I pay you with an education, with 15 years of work experience, when I can just find a lady in the park who has enthusiasm just as good as you? I mean, that's how you started after all. I can pay her like 10 euros an hour or less. I mean...
And you're part of chat groups, from what you've told me.
Yeah.
So not only women who are working for the families that you work for, but sort of across the board.
Yeah.
And there are some horror stories.
Yeah, absolutely horrific stories, even today in like 2026. Like, I really try my best as a person in my 40s to try and advocate for women in their 20s or teens even that are moving here from indeed America or all over the world that just want a better life or want to experience living in the land of cheese and wine, you know, and just how to take care of yourself.
But what are they supposed to do when, I think you've told me a story where someone was like, no, I want to pay you €6 an hour.
Yeah.
And I mean, how does a woman like that live? I mean, she doesn't live in Paris, right?
Yeah. You have to say no. It's the moment you think you need to say yes, either to please that person or because you're already living on the breadline. Like, there has to be another way. Like, you can get more money than that cleaning homes.
Right.
Like, there are so many other jobs you can do. You might not think that you want to do it or that you're capable of doing it. But when there's a will, there's a way. And your determination has to be strong, because the minute you say yes and let someone exploit you that way, it shows and tells other people that, okay, just do it. It won't be like that forever.
Right.
But then you meet women that are stuck in these kinds of jobs and with that pay grade for the entire time they're in Paris, because they do ask your ex-employer how much you earn or what they did, or, And
then there are the horror stories of families, wealthy families often taking their passports and sort of locking them into these positions. So, it seems like there's a lot we sort of take for granted when we see
we really do.
These women in the parks with these children, or walking through the, doing school pickup.
Yeah.
And they always seem, I mean, just from my perspective,
Yeah.
they seem really warm and wonderful with these kids.
It's true.
But you just sort of wonder, how are they actually being treated?
Yeah, you never know the backstory. And I think it's just in any job to anyone, just be friendly, be kind, talk to someone if they're in your proximity.
Right.
You know, it's all just about being friendly. You know, it takes 2 minutes to be like, hello, how are you? The opening question, you know, someone might be like, I need help.
Right,
Someone
right.
might be like, I'm fine. Or someone might be like, I'm okay. But you
right.
need to read the signals. And I do this almost every day when I go out with my charge. Like, I just talk to people, to women, and I'm like, are you really okay? And they're like, yes, actually, I'm fine. Like, life is great. And I'm like, good for you. Have a nice day. But one time in like a week, someone will be like, can you help me?
And what do you do in that case?
I'll ask them what their background is, how they came here, do they know anyone else here, are they represented by an agency,
Right.
or do they know about free legal advice that's available to them, to join a women's group.
Right.
Maybe I already know someone that's looking
Right,
and they're
right.
kinder to people. So, yeah, I mean, there are lots of ways you can help.
Have you been in a situation in any of the places you've worked where it's been limite, or where you've been, where it could have been a situation?
In respect to like how I'm being treated or paid, no. In terms of like maybe a parent trying to hit on me or something.
Oh gosh.
That's a different kind of,
That's a cinematic story,
yeah,
isn't it?
you know, it happens where, you know, you're the trusted person, you're so kind with the children, you're also single.
Right.
I mean, it happens all the time. And for sure, there are movies that have already been written about it. I'm not going to just blame it on the dads.
But you've also had, from what I remember, some extra gigs you've taken on where the families haven't paid you what you were owed.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Do you know what? That has happened recently.
Yeah, you probably try to block it
Yeah,
out. But
you do block out these really crappy things. But yeah, that has happened recently because, you know, rich people also stay rich by not paying for anything.
Right.
You know? They get given 3 free things. They get taken on free trips. And I have worked for someone not in the distant past where I outlined the job before, asked them what they needed. We agreed the rate, went on the trip, did the work, but then for some reason their idea of the trip didn't go according to how they thought it would. So they decided to pay me less than what we agreed. And it was like, you're just in shock when that happens because you're
Right.
like, why are you doing this to me? Like what? And then they always come up with an excuse like, well, you know, we actually ended up looking after our own child for a portion of this trip.
But wasn't that so you could sleep for 2 seconds?
It's like these things happen. I mean, think about it. If you have a child, a nanny, and a parent on, say, a flight.
Right.
Who is the child going to want to be with? This is my first advice to any parent. If you take a nanny on a trip, even if it seems mean to do so, sit the nanny with the child away from you. Have
Right.
your flight by yourself or with your partner, have a glass of champagne, read a book, count it as you time. If you want to sit with the nanny and with your child, just know that your child is always going to choose you first.
Right, of course.
It's natural.
They're
the child will
comfortable.
choose
Yeah.
you before the stranger that has been paid to look after them.
Right, of course.
So you will have to do your share of childcare work.
It's just shocking to hear that they, are in such bad faith,
Yeah, right? And so
going back on their agreement.
But nowadays, it's just more of like the silent retreat. You're like, okay, I've asked you to pay me fairly. You've said no. I'm just going to walk away from this situation and maybe karma will come for you. Or pretend you didn't realize. And I don't know. you don't know what these people are thinking at the time of when you do the job or after the job, when it comes to paying you. You just don't know. You just have to just sometimes cut your losses. And yeah.
So this form of caregiving is obviously one of a zillion, maybe not a zillion, but a slew that exist in France. And the crèche is held up as the wonder system, which is daycare. Well, it's like a daycare that started, I read, in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
After Industrial Revolution for women to be able to go to work. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's subsidized, so it's on a sliding scale according to your revenue. It's very hard, though, to get a spot.
Yes.
And I read, and I will put this source in the description of the show description, there are 200,000 spots needed in the whole country that cannot be filled for children because they lack staff.
Yeah.
So what do you think? That's an option. You've got garde partagée, right, where you have someone also who you share kids, like a small
which
group.
I've done.
You've done that as well?
Yeah.
And how does that work?
So the last time I did garde partagée, it was for 3-year-olds that lived in the same building.
Right, okay.
So the parents clubbed together and they were like, what can we do? We need to work. We need our kids to be taken care of. And so they found me. And it was all proper with a contract and everything. And one family, I guess they worked it out between them. Who needs the most care?
Right.
Who earns the most?
And then who hosts, right? Or does it switch apartments?
We switched apartments, which was really quite cool.
Well, because you get different experiences
different experiences, different toys, I really liked it. And I'm still in touch with certainly 2 of the 3 children that I looked after and their parents now. So,
and I know that what I found fascinating when I was doing some research on for the New Parisienne, actually, there's a section on motherhood, and I was speaking to some women in Paris who were like, I only earn enough. I work, I want to be working, but my salary basically goes straight to pay the nanny. And so some of them decide, is it worth it for me to do that?
It's true. It's a legitimate question.
Right. And so this idea that somehow it is like super convenient and affordable for everyone is kind of...
It's true, it's expensive,
untrue.
But childcare in general is expensive all across the board. And I think that's where the government comes in. You know, they need to put things into place where it does make it more feasible for parents to go out and work. Places in like Finland and Sweden where they have, even also in Germany, by the way.
It's more progressive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, parents get a year maternity, paternity leave. So you can just choose to stop working and look after your own child for a bit, and then use the rest of the time to figure it out. I mean, their version of crèche there is called Kita, and that works exactly the same way. It's mainly free, but you have ones that are slightly more private than the others, and that also works on the sliding scale of how much you earn, how much can you afford to contribute to the system.
But is there, to your knowledge, the same shortage for kids? There are. Okay.
There are. And actually, one of the reasons that I'm most aware of is because as soon as Brexit hit as well for the UK, there was this mass exodus of people leaving for Europe. They were just like, well, A, I want the European passport, and B, childcare is basically free. So why am I paying £800 or £900 a month to send my kid to nursery, or paying minimum of £2,000-3,000 a month for my child to be with a nanny, when I can just move to Europe, say goodbye to this whole terrible system of Brexit, and benefit from what European culture has to offer us?
So they sort of were inundated.
Yeah.
The systems were inundated.
Yeah.
And you bring up something that's quite interesting, because the rates you've just mentioned about daycare or nursery in the UK sound kind of like what I have heard from my friends with kids in the US.
Yeah.
What that costs.
It's wild.
But does that mean that's why those cultures are going to, they're less shocked about paying more if they are going to get a nanny?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's my preferred type of client because they already understand the value in paying for childcare. I'm not saying it's correct.
Right.
It is an extortionate amount of money. But if you think of another adult working 40, sometimes 50, 60 hours a week, they need to be on the salary that sustains them.
Right.
And that, unfortunately, is either the same as you, or I don't know how you need to figure it out.
Right.
But it's not going to be £6 or £10 an hour.
No, and it's also that exists is akin to the kind of low-wage work that has essentially allowed Western economies to function.
True.
And it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it really isn't right at all.
Are you concerned by anything you see in the French or Paris, let's say, because we're in Paris, approach to their children? And maybe that's a poorly worded question, but I mean, you know, what I always found interesting is that they don't lose their identities. Not all of them anyway when they become parents, right? So they want to maintain their lifestyles,
of course,
going out.
Yeah.
But does that have an impact from your perspective on the relationship with the child?
Yeah. I mean, anywhere you go to, I think you definitely get what you pay for in any kind of job, really. I mean, we're talking about childcare, but even you can bring this down to working in McDonald's or a restaurant. When you have people that are paid badly, you know, there are rumors that they drop your food on the floor and put it back, or, you know, do something not so nice to your burger and then give it back to you. You read these stories all the time.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's the same for childcare, but I have been into parks or at birthday parties where, for example, caregivers are not afraid to like smack a child or shout at a child, or it's really awful. And then it just takes a simple conversation to figure out, well, that caregiver's being mistreated, they're not paid fairly, they feel this is wrong and that's wrong, and it's not their child anyway, so why does it matter, or who will know? And it's not a rare case. This happens all the time. And I often have parents come up to me saying, oh, you know, you're so patient and caring with my child. And you mean, oh, you just basically mean I don't shout or hit at your child because that's what you're used to hearing, the horror stories, you know. And unfortunately, especially with like Black and Latina nannies as well, there's a stigma that we're more aggressive and more strict with our caregiving, which is why you have the whole Norland system which actually, I mean, I'm not sure if we have time to go into this.
What is that?
Norland is an establishment in the UK where you can go and train to be a nanny.
Okay.
So I applied for Norland, I got in, and I quit quite quickly afterwards, actually. It just wasn't for me. You have to wear a brown and beige uniform with matching shoes. You have to wear a little hat. You get taught great things, how to swim in the ocean, how to drive a car, how to sew, how to cook, all the pedagogical skills. You learn absolutely everything. I mean, it's a brilliant system, but it's also very white. It's very, very white. Now, if you go on their Instagram, you will see Black nannies that have graduated. They do have a program for mannies, which is a male nanny.
Right.
It is becoming more progressive, but since its creation, it has always just been a very white system. And the royal family in the UK only hire Norland nannies.
Oh, wow.
And they're always these very prim and proper white ladies with their hair tied in a bow, very akin to like an air stewardess or, cabin crew. And, you know, the polished look. And I just wasn't like that. I can do the job, but I don't want to dress like that. I don't want to wear a brown uniform and have everybody know that I work in someone's home as a caregiver.
Right. You lose your identity as,
you do.
as Liz.
Put a label on me.
Right.
So I was like, this isn't for me. Sod this. And I just found my own way and then explained to people, quite frankly, like this, give me a month. I can do the job. You'll see the turnaround in your child, but I'm not going to wear a buttoned up shirt. And I do like to wear bows in my hair, actually.
but that's your decision, right?
That's my decision.
So I wanted to get your thought also on, I have a friend who just had a baby, and she went through in Paris, and went through a number of night nurses before she found someone who could help her. And she knows she is privileged enough to afford this, but she also was desperate.
Yeah.
And one of the things she said that really struck me, this is someone who was sort of on the fence about having kids initially and is very, very career-minded.
Yeah.
And she said the thing that has really rocked her is how isolated she has felt.
Oh, bless her.
In the middle of the night, she's the one that has to breastfeed.
Yeah.
Before they got, help at some point. And just the moments where, like, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
You're dealing with this, human you have to keep alive, and feeling like there's a lot that other people just can't do.
Yeah.
Do you find that, again, we sort of gloss over when we talk about the childcare experience, we gloss over those moments to our detriment?
Yeah. I mean, women don't really help each other. We're the biggest, the ones that rip us down the most, and you either have women on the internet that are like, I love being a mother, it's amazing. You don't know how it feels until you do it yourself, but no one ever really talks about postnatal depression, being alone, not having enough money to afford the help, but you want the help, and then feeling guilty for taking the help because you feel like you're being a bad mother because someone else is doing it. But actually, this is my favorite type of work, the night nannying.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it because I've done it several times. I mean,
on a rate, like, for how long do you do that? Just like the first month?
No, it depends. And I always take the night nannying jobs through an agency.
Okay.
And never do it by myself, because this is where you need the contract to be clear. You need to be paid either by the hour or per night. You need to, I mean, typically you start from about 6 or 7 p.m. and you work the whole night until the same time again in the morning. So like a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
But I love it because you get to meet the baby when they just come home. And I really like to support the parents, I had the most wonderful family once in Frankfurt. I'll never forget them. Both CEOs working top jobs, really good. But they don't want to lose the place in their career.
Right.
You need the help. And so you teach the mum how to be okay with breastfeeding if she wants to do it. If not, I take the baby, I bottle feed, show them how to pump, show them how to bathe. I mean, basically all the things a midwife shows you.
Right.
Except she stays.
Right.
You
the
stay.
Night. And you allow them to sleep.
Yeah,
basically.
Of course.
I mean, how does your sleep, though,
dreadful?
Right.
But it's not forever. You can't be a night nanny for a family forever. You can do it for a year tops. But I generally have done it for 3 to 4 months in a row, and then you stop. Or sometimes even just a few weeks. Depends what the family is. If they're traveling in for business, if they're just getting settled before they hire their daily nanny.
So then what do you recommend for anybody listening who is about to have a kid here?
Yeah.
Maybe moving with kids that are not yet school age. And let's say they can't afford, unfortunately, a Lizzie.
Yeah.
What should they be looking out for, though? And what would still be a good avenue to pursue for their kids? And if they can, you should absolutely hire Lizzie. Yeah.
I mean, assuming you absolutely can't afford a Lizzie, which isn't that expensive in relation. But, I mean, seek community, There are also, again, sorry to keep referencing Berlin when we're in Paris, but there were 2 mothers, it must exist here. They set up their own company, both a doula and a mother that set up their own company. And they made food portions for new parents. So like bulk buy things, get things to help you.
Okay. So bulk buy.
Prepare yourself.
Okay.
You can't afford a Lizzie. Tap into your community. Ask your bestest friends, can you help me? I need a month's worth of food in the freezer.
Right.
I need, the care packages. Like when you have instead of people just offering you a gift or something cute, come up with a list. I've contacted a nanny and this is what she says I need. So disperse it amongst your community and have this, just to get you through that period of where you know you're going to have lack of sleep.
And what about where to put? So what if someone can't get into crèche, right? And that was their initial goal.
Yeah.
Should they look for a garde partagée?
Yeah.
Is that a good solution?
Yeah, absolutely. So the more cheaper solutions instead of a daily nanny is either garde partagée or a childminder, actually. A childminder is still an accredited person. You have to have applied for your license properly, and it's where the childminder, their home has been adapted to accommodate, say, 3 or 4 children.
Right.
So they have it checked as well. You have to have like the safety plugs. You have to have an area of play, an area of change. Like it can't just be anyone's home.
Okay.
It has to be adapted so that the children can come over. So that's much cheaper. And garde partagée, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone is a 2-parent family.
Right.
But if you think about having like 6 or 7 salaries to look after a few children.
Right.
I mean, you can already do the maths. It's way cheaper.
Right.
Yeah.
So any concluding words about your world in Paris? Because you see a different side of things than I do, for example. Is there anything that gives you, I guess, hope for families setting up in Paris?
I mean, I love Paris, right? This is why I came back. I absolutely love France. What's it going to take to get a passport?
Oh, I know.
Nightmare. I don't know. I mean, I've also forgotten the question.
I love it. Well, I guess just like, do you see kindness when you're out
I do.
in the parks and stuff? Like, I guess I just want to feel that there's humanity even in the little people that, you might be helping to raise. Like
100%.
Does that give you hope?
There's kindness everywhere, especially in Paris. You just have to look for it. And if you really aren't sure about your childcare options, the easiest thing to do is contact an agency via phone or email, ask them all of your questions. Of course, they will try to onboard you and get you to hire a nanny, but kind of use that as like your troubleshooting and get as much information for yourself as you can before you go out and do the research yourself.
That's excellent advice.
That would be like, I mean, the agencies won't love it. They'll hate me for saying it, but they're there to advise you. They're there to try and get you to take a nanny from their company. And if you can't afford that for whatever reason, try and take as much of that advice and find your own.
Great advice, Liz.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I knew offhand of other people who could help you get that passport and hire you forever.
I'm available from this autumn. So
okay. All right. You heard it here first.
Books will open soon.
Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I just love how you fell into this.
Yay.
Also.
Me too.
London
it's been
is
a great life.
I mean, and you're really, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Obviously, you're so wonderful with kids.
Thank you.
Everyone should be so lucky.
Thank you so much.
And next time we'll have you on to talk about wine because that's your other passion.
Yes.
So to be continued.
Yes. All the food, all the wine.
That's the show for today. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to check out the poll related to this episode by scrolling down in your app. There are more exciting conversations to come this season, so I hope you'll subscribe or share the show with a friend if you've been enjoying what you've heard so far. As always, you can find more from me at lindsaytremuta.com and at the New Paris Dispatch on Substack. À très bientôt.